Welcome to the Finance Rebel Show. Today, we got a great episode lined up for you today. Of course, I'm Kamari Ellis. Today, we're going to talk about being home ready. There's a lot of people talking about buying a home. A lot of people scared to buy a home. A lot of people feel that interest rates are through the roof, and they're really worried that they will never be able to obtain home ownership today. So I brought on today someone really special, Miss Nia Adams, Money Perspectives, and she helps women get homes all the time, and she makes great content. So I wanted to bring her on today and have a conversation about being home ready and what it takes to stay in a home as well. So as I bring her up to the stage, let me know what y'all think about home ownership. Hey, Nia.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And so for everybody who's just now watching, who've never seen us before and seen me before, I'm Kamari Ellis, the Finance Rebel. We're watching the Finance Rebel Show. We do this every Wednesday at 8 p.m., 8 p.m.-ish. I say ish because without fail, I get a client call almost every time I'm about to go live. And for me, I'm still in that stage of life where I don't want to call people back because it's like more stuff just added onto my list. So at one day, I dream of having an assistant who can just handle all this stuff for me.
No, one day you're going to have an assistant. You don't have to dream about it. You're going to have an assistant.
All right, I like that. Put it into the future. Call it into fruition. Yes.
Put it in the air. But they say starting is a habit. Put it in the air.
So me and Nia have been homies for almost a year now.
About a year. No, it's been a year.
She's part of my FinCon group. I want to say posse, but then I'm dating myself. Y'all want to see how old I am. Nobody says posse anymore.
Not really, no.
No, not really. I know.
But I know posse. Like, my posse is on Broadway.
Oh, you going back.
Everything is a song to me, just so you know.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, songs are great mnemonics, right? They are great for triggering the memory. But I saw you today, and I want to pull up something that I saw you did. Actually, a bunch of things.
Okay, let's go.
Just one.
I be busy. What was I doing?
Yo, yeah, you be busy. You getting busy out on these content streets. All right, so hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's see here. So you did this.
Okay, so here's something they will not tell you when you buy a house.
If you're looking to buy a house, you already own a house, just bought a house, definitely watch that video. But I want to let you know there are other ways that your mortgage payment will go. So in that video, she probably has her mortgage payment escrow, which basically means when she makes her mortgage payment.
So I thought this was really interesting, right? Because clearly this young lady, her mortgage payment went up, like out of the blue. And a lot of people don't realize, yes, your mortgage payment can go up. It's not set in stone once you get it. And, she was like freaking out. Now, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes when I watch, I'm guessing that started on TikTok.
Correct. It did.
I watch, well, it's not even just TikTok. I know everybody likes to take jabs at TikTok, but TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I just feel like everybody be acting. So I don't know if they're just doing it to be dramatic, if it's real, or they're having real problems or fake problems. But I'm going to take them at it's a real problem.
That is a real problem. And if you really think about
it. Yes, that is a real problem. But I'm talking about her depiction of the problem.
Oh, I don't know. That I don't know. But I thought that it was a real issue that people needed to be aware about and to let them know, like, just don't focus on taxes. There are other ways that your mortgage will change. Because think about it. Now, somebody commented on there too. They were like, oh, well, it's a win-win situation to me. If my property value goes up, then that's a good thing. I'm like, yes, if you're prepared to make that additional payment on your mortgage, that's why you're happy about it. But somebody who does not have the money and has no clue that this increase is possible, and now they have an additional $400 or $500 per month that they have to pay, which is at minimal 10 months would be $5,000.
Right.
That can be substantial to somebody's financials.
But let's go back to the taxes part, right? Because I'm in Philadelphia. Philadelphia has had a huge property tax increase over the last year because they've been doing reassessments. And so for us being one of the 5th or 6th largest cities in the country, a lot of times proportionally, we are lagging behind in property tax. Typically we pay a lower amount.
So let me tell you another time that it's important. New construction.
Yes. But again, it's all about assessments. It's all about the new assessment. Yes.
Correct. So when you first bought that house, that original tax bill is the assessment based on the land. There was no house there. So now you have a new full house here. So when they come out with that new assessment, those taxes are going to increase substantially, which means your mortgage is going to increase if it's escrow. So that's important. If it's escrow, if your mortgage is not escrow, the actual mortgage or the balance that you borrowed from the lender is not going to change. The amount you borrowed from them is what you borrow. So I want to make sure people understand that. It does not mean that now you're going to owe the bank more money. But if you have all of your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance all being paid together, which is called an escrow because they have an account that holds all of it, then that's what's going to make your mortgage payment go up because they need to have enough money to pay that new tax bill. They're not going to pay it.
But wouldn't you say most new folks, new homeowners, home mortgage is escrowed?
So if you have an FHA, escrow is a requirement. But if you don't have FHA, it's not. And if you like, you can pay them all separately, depending on the lender. But yes, I feel like a lot of people have it escrow, but they don't really understand. Like they have it escrow, but I don't feel like everybody understands the process. So that's why I made the video. And then at the end of the year, the mortgage company is going to do a review of your escrow account / holding account and see if you have enough money for the tax bill and the home insurance bill that's going to be coming in the next year. So if they get to the end and they determine that you don't have enough money for these bills that are about to come, they're going to send you a bill. So you'll have an option where you can just fill that gap and pay that amount in a lump sum. But if you don't, then your mortgage payment is going to go up because the funds have to come from somewhere. Somebody got to pay that bill. And they're not going to pay it. They do not. They're not your friend like that. They gave you all that money, but it was so they can make money off you. It was not for them to help you out.
That is very true. Yeah. But again, let's keep going through this. Welcome to everybody that just got here. What's up to Eunice? Hey, Eunice, how are you? Still Rocks is in the building. Thank you. Horns to both of you. Thank you for joining us. But we were going over Nia's content, right? Because she was responding. I mean, she does something what I do, right? Not the same way, but she's looking to educate. I'm here to educate.
Exactly.
I'm not really here for the other shenanigans, but I know everybody else is, but I don't know. But let's go back through this.
She pays her principal balance, her interest, her taxes, and her home insurance in one payment. Now, what they don't tell you is property values go up. Your home insurance premiums go up. For some people, their home insurance premiums have been doubling. Well, when you pay all of that in one, you have an escrow account that holds the funds to pay those things until the bills are due.
Now, everybody talks about home ownership, but it seems like people don't really think about those things. Mm-hmm. They don't think about insurance values going up or insurance premiums going up, real estate taxes going up. There's a lot of things to this thing called home ownership.
I agree. And I also feel like it's a lot of parts to learn when you're going through the initial home buying process. So a lot of time I believe it's really, they don't talk about after the home. So that's one of the reasons why I started educating people on home ownership, because I tell people I'm not a realtor, I'm not a loan officer, so I'm not going to make any money whether you buy a home or not. That's not going to affect my bottom line. So I want to be here to help educate you. And the difference between me and them is they want to help you get in the home. I want to help you stay in it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the key, right? Because you can always get in the home.
And a lot of loan offers will do a lot of finagling and rigging to make sure you get in it so they can get their commission, but you need that education to stay in it.
Absolutely. All right, so let's keep going on with this.
Yeah, I was real low on this video.
Yeah, your volume was low on both of them a little bit. I don't know.
Probably down on my phone.
But it might have been also when I got the video, they do the little weird compressions or whatever. So it could be my fault too.
Probably.
So let's
At the
see.
end of every year, they're going to review that account. It's called the escrow analysis and determine, will you have enough funds with your current payment to pay the bills with the increases? Well, if you don't, you'll have an opportunity to pay that gap so that your mortgage payment doesn't go up. But if you don't pay that gap,
If you
Okay,
don't
so
pay that
here's
gap,
something.
Right.
you don't pay that gap, you're in a trap.
Exactly.
Yes. So, I mean, you said this happens a lot.
Mhm.
What's a lot? I mean, I experience people with escrow, not escrow. I've seen some people get jammed up because taxes and like depending on certain other things. Like in Philly, if you have a duplex or greater, duplex, triplex, quad or more, you have commercial trash removal fees that the city now charges. I
Mm.
got one client. I got a couple clients actually that owe over like 10 grand in commercial trash collection. And I'm like, yo, you need to handle that because they will take your property and take it to
Yeah,
sheriff's sale.
which is insane.
Yeah.
So I think it happens a lot. I have an investment property I bought, well, almost exactly 3 years ago. It's happened twice to me already, but it's because my insurance has been going up. So that's one of the things that I said, and I kept making videos because I kept getting questions where people commented that you can shop around for your insurance. So when you first buy the house and you choose your insurance provider, the insurance premium for a home is paid annually. It's not
Right.
paid where you choose 6 months or pay monthly like your home, like your car insurance. So you have the option when that time is coming and they come and tell you, oh, well, your insurance went up, so your escrow is going up. Well, you have the option to shop around and find a different insurance provider and bring it back down. So that's also an option that you can do too.
Right.
That I
Right.
think a lot of people don't know either. Just because you selected that home insurance company when you purchased the house, that does not mean forever you're stuck with them. You are absolutely not.
But I bet the turnover is probably light for that because, like you said, a lot of people aren't
A
willing
lot of
to
people
go
don't
out.
know.
They
Mhm.
don't know, and they're lazy, justifiably so, right? Because listen, we're busy, and it's like, oh God, here's another thing I got to deal with, and I got to go shopping for a new homeowner's insurance, and it's like,
Well, you don't.
most
You
of
can get
that,
an insurance broker and have them shop for you.
yeah, but that's still part of the process. You have to take extra steps. That's all I'm saying.
True. And you have to be careful because, so let's say, for example, like right now, I just had the same thing happen. So I'm shopping for insurance companies. And so let's just say I decide to go with a different company. When I decide a different provider, that original insurance company is going to send me a refund check, a prorated refund check for the months I haven't used in my policy. Because remember, it's paid out for the year. Do not spend that check. When they send you that check, do not spend that check because this new company that you just selected, now
They
that
want all that.
premium, it has to be paid.
They want
So
that cake.
my recommendation, call your mortgage company, figure out how you can get that money to them. And what they'll do is once you pay that money, you can prompt them to do another escrow analysis. So now they can factor in that you have lower insurance and you paid the premium to them. So then your mortgage possibly won't change.
That's a good point. Good point.
Mhm.
Good point. Got to give you the horns for that. All right, so we got to talk to the people a little bit, right? So Still Rock says that thumbnail on today's video. Hard
Thank you.
eyes.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So that wasn't me. That was all Nia's beautiful skin. She travels a lot. She spends a lot of time in the sun
I do.
in all these beachy type places
Mhm,
that,
mhm.
as regular folk can't get to. So
Yes, you can.
I'm giving you your flowers.
Don't use the can.
That makes it more fun. You're messing up my fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Nia's also a real estate investor and a content creator, a financial educator.
And an
But she-
author.
But she travels a lot.
I do.
She probably travels more to like fun places like Trinidad and Tobago.
I go
or
a lot of
anything else.
places. I love
know,
it. I love
I know.
travel. Yeah.
But Carnival to me just sticks out in my head.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for next year. But it also, that's what keeps me working out, getting ready for Carnival. Because having to get ready every year to get ready for my costume, it kind of keeps you motivated.
Okay. All right.
It's fun though.
I can't wait to see what happens next year. All right. So Stir Rock says they don't. The loan officers just trying to push that application. Yeah, a lot of them do.
In fact.
Stir Rock says so many expenses when you get into that home, moving, deposits on new utilities. So many people go into debt when they had to just pay down to qualify for the mortgage. That is a fact.
Can I plug myself?
Of course you can plug yourself.
That is why I created this.
And what is that?
This is my book. It is called Life is Short, Buy the House. It's the guide to preparing for home ownership. And it goes through, like, is home ownership really for you? It has like a glossary in the back so you can know the terms and feel more empowered in your process and don't look at the loan officers like, what happened? It said what? It goes through the full home buying process, all the expenses of the home buying process, single unit versus multi-unit versus condo versus townhouse, what's it like dealing with an HOA, pros and cons of renting and owning. Like, that is exactly why I created this. Like, if you can't afford to buy somebody's expensive course and that's not for you, right here, all in one little place, all my research.
You brought up everybody can't afford a house, or everybody shouldn't buy a house.
Everybody shouldn't buy a house. It's literally a chapter and it said, is home really where the heart is?
But the name of your book is Life is Short, Buy the House. So clearly you are pro real estate ownership.
I am pro real estate ownership because it fits for my goals. And if you talk to a majority of the wealthy people, whether they still own a home now or not, real estate was a part of that process because it's a great way to generate wealth.
Okay. All right.
But so, just like money, it's a tool. You got to use it correctly, though.
Okay. All right. So where can they find the book? Eunice wants to know.
Oh, actually, you can find it on Amazon. If you type in, can I put a link in the chat?
I'm already ahead of you.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so that's exactly the reason, like, why I created it, because the questions that you get in different things and experiences, like a big one I get all the time. A lot of realtors say, date the rate, marry the mortgage, which is absolutely true. Absolutely true. No, house of the ever. You can date the rate, marry the mortgage, but you need the rate to actually get to a dateable level. You know what I'm saying? So you need the rate to actually go down to date the rate. If the rate is constantly going up, it's not dateable.
So see, I feel like we've been spoiled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we think rates are always supposed to be 0 or 1%.
No, rates were not. Okay, listen.
I'm just saying, like, in the 80s, we had 12, 13, 40% interest
Okay,
rate.
great. I'm so happy you said that.
We're at 8-ish now, right? Some are saying it might go to 10. It still might make sense to buy the home, right? So you don't necessarily have to date the rate. So
okay, can I get on my soapbox for a few
seconds?
Listen. So yes, because that's the argument I get all the time, that the rates were 12% in the 80s, but the houses were probably $12,000. At that 12% interest rate, it was probably the 80s. So it was not where a lot of the companies had given away the right of saving for retirement. We had more pensions than 401ks at that point. Now the onus to save for retirement is more on the employee. And now that's more of your paycheck that you have to put towards saving for retirement. Student loan wasn't where it is now. That was before they conditioned us to be a spending and consuming society where credit card debt is not where it is now. So I'm not finished. I'm not finished. You said soapbox. Soapbox take time.
Well, you know I got a short-term memory, so but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, listen, I hear you. The only thing I was going to say is we've been conditioned to be a consumeristic society.
We have.
Before the 80s. And all I would say is that
I feel like it's gotten much worse now.
It has. I mean, you can quantify that as well. I mean, we can get into that in a minute. But the average home price right now is $416,000.
And you're paying 20, like, okay, so full disclosure, I'm in the home buying process right now, looking at houses actively right now. On my stories, I share them every day and I go through the home buying process with my audience. A $30,000 house, you're probably paying over $2,000 a month for your mortgage. That's a lot to pay for a $200,000 house to me. So
Unless
like
you're putting down $100,000 as a deposit.
exactly. So like,
And
yes,
who's got that?
I hear y'all argument all the time. I get that all the time. Well, it's 12%. Yeah, it was 12%, but the houses were 12,000. Like, don't let me bust out a mortgage calculator to determine the difference in what the actual mortgage payment would look like between that 80s 12% and now if it went to 10%. The cost of living is much more astronomical now than it was then. Go ahead, break it down because I see
No. And I agree.
typing.
Everything you said is factual, right? The only thing I would say the difference between now and then is that the Fed had pumped so much money into the housing market for so long. We are going to see elevated home prices for a while.
And that's exactly why I'm buying right now. That's exactly why it still makes sense for me to buy, especially as an investor. If I move, I'm just going to rent it out.
Yeah. And so I'm not anti anything.
I don't think you are. I don't
Okay.
think you are.
But for the record, I get labeled anti, so I just want to state it for the record.
Oh, really? No,
I am pro. Do what's best for you.
Exactly. I was gonna say, like, even if you were anti, like, oh well, that's
But
prerogative.
in the society today, they want you. People are dumb, right? In society right now, like they don't think, right?
No.
So I have to come out and be strongly pro or against.
No,
the
you
middle doesn't exist.
Yes, it does.
Right.
Absolutely.
Nuance doesn't exist. Details no longer exist.
Oh no, not in my world. So for me, it makes sense to buy, and I'll explain why. So a little background to you all. I just relocated about a month and a half ago. I relocated to Georgia. I'm from Chicago, born and raised. Now, if anybody knows anything about the Chicago market, it is expensive. Not New York expensive, not DC expensive, but very much so. It's so expensive that you really don't get a cash flow when looking to buy like multi-units unless you buy them in like distress. I would say yes, distress. I was going to say type C neighborhoods, but I wanted to use a more lame term. So that's why for me it makes sense to purchase. Secondly, when the rate, if it may possibly go down, the cost of houses is increasing so rapidly. What do you think is going to happen when that rate goes down? People are going to flood that market like Black Friday.
They are.
I don't want to be a part of that, first and foremost. And I want to go ahead and lock down my house at the price it is now before the price goes up. So if the rates go down, I can just refinance, which is the whole meaning of date the rate, marry the mortgage.
You can possibly refinance. And so that was what I was saying. It's not guaranteed that rates are going to go down.
Exactly. I said possibly. I said maybe, possibly, possibly. I was trying to put the emphasis on possibly.
But listen, sometimes you got to go ahead and get married, jump the broom, get hitched,
but
and make a decision.
So that's facts. Regardless of whether the rates go down or not, you need to buy that house prepared and be able to take care of that mortgage and responsibilities, regardless if they go. If them going down should just be icing on the cake. It should not be you purchasing it dependent upon it refinancing. So you're absolutely correct.
Right. That's all I was trying to say.
And then the refinancing process, depending on what type of loan you started with and what type of loan you're trying to refinance into, it's also going to be a process. You're also going to need money, maintain a credit score so that you can qualify for that refinance. It's not going to be an automatic, oh, I'm ready to refinance now. And they press two buttons and now you got your new rate. You're going to have to go through a process to refinance that might be a miniature version of buying the house, depending on what type of loan product you had. So that's another thing. They make it seem like it's just so simple and easy to refinance, and it's truly not.
It's not at all.
You got to know like what type of loan you bought in the beginning. So like, for example, I don't want to get too technical talking about streamlined FHA loans and all of that, but depending on what type of loan you purchased in the beginning, you will have to refinance to it. Now they might be able to do a quicker version. She said, thank you for not staying. You are absolutely reckless. You are absolutely reckless. I wasn't going to let him do it. I wasn't going to let him do it.
Who said that? Thank you for not standing.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
But no, y'all ain't even let me get it out. Jeez Louise. Ain't nothing like a Black woman. That's all I got to say.
Nothing like us.
That's all I got to say. Y'all ain't let me get it out. Because what I was trying to get
imitated, never duplicated.
That's a fact. But what I was trying to get to, you actually agreed with me.
I do agree with you.
So
Absolutely.
Miss Jen, that's all I was trying to say. Listen,
Yeah, I
I
completely
have
agree with you.
I have this conversation with my father all the time. He's almost 80 now, right? He was like, y'all spend so much money on stuff. All
We
y'all
do.
do is spend. And I was
We
like,
do.
yeah, because when you was growing up, gasoline was 25 cents and a
Man.
loaf of bread was 5 cents. We
Oh,
don't have that luxury, right? So yeah,
man.
things are a little bit different. Things are a little
Those
bit different.
were the days.
That's right. Archie. Archie and Edith. And nobody knows that song. Are you going to sing for us? Because I've
No,
recently
I don't know how to
found out.
sing.
No, you were somewhere singing. I saw you.
I was somewhere singing.
Mhm. So I got a story for y'all. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but
I was somewhere singing. Where was I at singing?
Nia and I, let me get my grammar correct, were in the great city of New Orleans.
New Orleans.
And she was out there partying hard, y'all. That's all I got to say about it.
And all I got to say is that was the sober version.
I wasn't there for any of that.
You were, oh, that's right. You were gone. You were not, yeah, that's true. I was. Well, you don't got to tell them. I could tell them myself.
I got it. Oh, you want to tell yourself?
Yeah, we went out to Bourbon Street. I mean, it's New Orleans.
I wasn't there.
Really?
I
Really? That's what we doing?
No, y'all left
That's
me.
what
I
we
didn't get a Bourbon Street with y'all.
That who fault is that?
Y'all left me.
You a grown man.
Y'all left me.
You a grown man, and
Nobody
your phone
said
works.
nobody called me.
Nobody
But-
called nobody. They just typed and said where y'all at. Because you're not gonna win this one. I'm not gonna agree with you on
Oh,
this.
I can win, but
You're
I
not.
want to think
You're
about
not
the
going to.
audience. Let's speak to the audience, right? So you got a congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. Feel free to send me tips, info, all that good stuff.
Well, Rox, I didn't know you were in Georgia, but okay. In that great peach state. All right. So how are you enjoying it?
Of course, they just do it because it's required.
Hold on, yeah. I'm gonna read the comment. I'm gonna read them. I got you.
That is true.
Got you.
That is true.
All right. So a lot of people don't even pay attention to the home buyers education course. They just do it because it's required on some of the loans. They just click the pages. Yes, that is true.
That's facts. All the way facts.
All right. So Eunice says, is it possible to purchase a home now and in a year or a few years try to refinance to get a lower rate? Yes.
It is possible, but it's just depending on if the rate actually lowers. So you could refinance, but you just need the rate to actually lower, and you want to maintain your credit score during that time so that you can qualify to actually refinance for a lower rate. And then, I say decide what type of loan you want to refinance into.
Right. So Eunice is actually a real estate expert of her own.
Oh, okay. She know.
Yeah, she know. All right, Lawrence is in the building. The neighborhood finance guy, Mr. Finance Griot. Lawrence, I still gotta get back and make good on my promise. Was supposed to be on your podcast, so we still got to do that. All right, so Lawrence says if you are in a position to buy, it's smarter to buy, as long as your total housing costs are less than 25% of your take-home pay.
And I say that's where it halts a lot of people.
No, I was going to say you got to be rich, basically.
Because that halts a lot of people with the current price of these homes. That's the next part. Like, yes, interest rates were way higher in the 80s. And that's the second argument to that. People don't have the money to be paying $3,000, $4,000 a month for a basic, simple home. So that, I think, poses a problem for them. Even when it comes to renting, it poses the same problem. A lot of people is finding it hard to, hit that 50-30-20 rule. Like, It's not as easy as it used to be with the cost of everything.
Right. So Lawrence says median home owners' wealth is greater than median renters' wealth year over year.
Only if they're not in foreclosure.
But I mean, if we're just taking an example, right? The homeowner's going to get the equity, they're going to get depreciation in the market.
I mean, that's true.
Not always, but typically, yes.
Technically, somebody in foreclosure on paper still owns the home.
Correct.
Until that foreclosure is processed, they're still listed as the homeowner.
Nice. All right, still out in small town, middle Georgia. Love small town living. All right. Congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Not true. Congratulations. How did we reach sis? Oh, he took my name down.
It's coming back. It's going. Jiggerton 17. I ain't seen you in a minute.
If y'all haven't got it yet, I'm just messing with him.
Yes, she bullies me, y'all. She bullies me. She's a bully. All right, though. It's okay. It's okay. I'll get her back at some point. At some point.
No, look, and you see where FinCon at next year.
Yeah, it's an A. It's an A. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but it's an A.
What? You don't know if you can make it?
I don't know, but we'll see. I gotta make some moves. We know that's going to be hella ridiculous.
Yes.
Hella ridiculous.
You can find me at Money Perspectives, and I'm the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Just put in at Money Perspectives. I'm actually, I guess you say spoiler alert. I'm actually planning a Wealth and Wellness Summit for October 2024.
Tell us all about. Well, wait a minute. Before we get to that, hold that.
I don't have any details to share. It's literally me just starting the plan.
All right, but I want to hear more about what's going on in the mind of Nia. But before we get to that, I want to get. How did we get to this point? Where is Nia from? How do we become this Uber traveler, this real estate investor? Like, give us some backstory.
So, how did we get here? Oh, nice. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments before you put them on the screen.
Yes. Everybody go sub Money Perspectives on YouTube, please. And if you're listening to
please and thank you.
And if you're listening to the audio version of this, because we are also an audio podcast as well, make sure you go find me on the socials.
Yes, I'm trying. My short-term goal is 500 subscribers. So I'm trying to, inch my way up to Kamari status. I want some K's behind my subscribe. We talked about that in New Orleans.
I'm small time. I keep telling you that. But listen,
if you're small time, then what am I? If you're small time, what am I? I have 200 and some subscribers.
You are a budding acorn.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes. So about me, well, it all started. So, how did I get into money? Like, honestly, I really didn't learn about money when I was younger. It's not something that was pressed upon me. We didn't talk about it. It was taboo. But I grew up without money. Like, so maybe that might have been my subconscious motivation. So I am the third child to a single parent, and my mama had me at 17.
Okay.
So to me, I always tell that story because it paints a picture of like what our finances would look like if you're a single parent at 17 with 3 children. So,
well, guess what? I was a single parent at 17 with 1 child. I could only imagine what it's like with 3.
Oh, wait, we're going to get there. I was too. So,
okay. All right.
So that paints the picture of like growing up, we did a lot of without, we ate a lot of the same meals. Like, some things I still don't eat. And because I ate it so much when I was younger. And so I really didn't have any understanding about finances. And then I got older myself and became a young mother myself. So my daughter's birthday, I always tell her like this: May 9th was my senior prom. My daughter's birthday is May 31st. And then I graduated June 6th.
Okay.
So I had her and had to check myself out of the hospital against medical advice so that I could go return my books, take my final exams, so I could graduate high school. Because at this point I have a child. I can't afford to go to summer school because where's she going to be? So that was like my, I have to now financially take care of her. I have to figure out like what I'm going to do for income. I tried to go the school route and go to school like that first semester, but I only went that first semester. I couldn't after that because it was just too much, because now I had to have a full-time job.
And when you say school, you're talking about college.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I'm talking about I attempted to go to college that freshman year. And it took me a total of 16 years to finish my education, between starting, stopping, having to get a job and my job be my priority because I have a mouth to feed, and just on and off. So I finally graduated 2017 and I had my daughter 2001. So
listen, I understand the struggle. I appreciate you being this transparent. And I just got to give you the horns because you stuck with it, right? I wound up going back to school late, college that is late. It took me quite a while to get through. So my hat's off to you.
Yeah, it's rough. Like, and you said you had your child at 17 too. So you understood, like, so that's what made me have to start and stop. But through that time, I had several like eye-opening money stories. And one of the first ones, of course, maxing out. I did everything like most people did. I maxed out the credit cards that they all marketed to me at 18, had judgments and all that stuff put on my credit that I had to fight. And then the first, I think, eye-opening moment for me to let me know I needed my finances was when I went to try to purchase a house. So I was working at the Postal Service, my good government job. And I felt like, oh, I make good money. I can go get a house, because that was the American dream. That was, that was what you do. You go get a house. So I talked to that loan officer. He said, Miss Mamas, you're not getting a house today. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, that first day I went home, I was a little sulky and I was a little salty. But I picked myself back up, and it took me about 2 years of like ordering books and getting all the resources, because this was before YouTube University or Google or, any of those things. I had to get all physical books, go to the library and do all that stuff. So doing all of that, I was able to get my house. I heard the magic words, you're pre-approved, bought my house October 2010, like, yay. December 4th, I slipped on ice outside and injured myself at work.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Yes. Broke a piece of bone off in my ankle.
That sounds painful.
It was, but I was house poor. So one of the instructions, when he told me what to do to move to prepare for the house, he didn't tell me save an emergency fund in case something happened. So I hadn't done that.
And so y'all know what I talk about emergency funds all the time, right?
Same.
I always tell y'all a year. I know the industry average is 3 to 6 months. And remember, that's the goal. I'm not saying you got to have it right away at the snap of a finger. You got to build to it. But that emergency fund will save your life, literally.
It would have saved my life and my house. Is what it would have saved, because I worked for a month on a messed up ankle because I knew I couldn't afford to be off work. So, which I'm sure made my ankle worse. It did not help it. But finally, I had to give in and apply for workers' comp. So apply for workers' comp, and I work for the government again. So it just took a long time. Long story short, I ended up going into foreclosure, because when I did finally start receiving money, my mind told me, like, pay your light bill, pay these bills so they don't cut off your utilities.
Right.
By the time I talked to the mortgage company, it was already into foreclosure. And, at that point, it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. They're not accepting any type of partial payments or payment plans. It's like, either you run us these coins or you run us this house. Right. That's your two options.
I know about it.
Yeah. So had to do that. Had to file bankruptcy. And again, I had just listened and did the steps that he gave me. I really didn't look and see like about money or how to use money. So of course, once I filed bankruptcy, the credit card companies start marketing to me again, because they know I can't file bankruptcy twice like that fast. So I'm the prime candidate, so I got me some cards and I ran it up again and ran up about $50,000 worth of debt. Because again, at this point, I don't really know. I'm just going through the steps when someone tells me the steps. And none of the books then really taught you, like the way we teach and we educate. Back then, the books just told you get a budget and write down your expenses and list it. You know what I'm saying? That's all they really told you. It didn't tell you, oh, you didn't have nothing when you was younger, so you might have some problems with your money when you get older. You know what I mean? Like,
the trauma is real.
It makes sense, but they just did not have that type of information in the books, and nobody was really teaching that. Thank you. So that is what first birthed it. Me buying a house so young, my friends started to use me as a resource. And they started to come to me and ask questions, which really let me know that.
Girl, how you get this house?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me and my best friend, he's still my best friend to this day. He used to call me his most trusted. He's Belizean, so he's like my most trusted financial advisor. Like, he used to joke around and call me that. That was like our little joke.
That accent was terrible though.
Hey, it was. We was around a lot of Africans growing up. So.
Oh, I know. I get it.
Yeah. So we used to joke around like that.
But you said Belize, right?
He's from Belize, but we grew up a lot with a lot of Africans.
I got
It
you.
was his
I got you.
imitation of an African.
That was definitely closer to a Nigerian.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. It was his of an African accent. That's not
Gotcha.
Belizean accent. No, Belize is like Wata. Yeah, like it's different. So, but yeah, so that's what really like birthed it, because me having those different experiences, I went through them alone because I felt like I would be a burden on somebody, and let me just put my head down and get this figured it out myself. But once I started to make strides, I became such a resource to other people. It let me know, like, oh, so it's not just me who don't know this stuff. Like, other people don't know this, and other people need this information. But essentially, I had to wait until I was able to finish school. I mean, I got plenty more. I could keep going, but I had to wait.
But hold on. I do want to ask you a question, though.
Go ahead.
I mean, you've only shared with some of the trauma.
Yeah, that's just literally.
You were a teenage parent.
Correct.
And many people don't realize this. There's a level of trauma that goes with that, because
hell.
oftentimes, well, I was a boy, you're a girl. You probably got ostracized way more than I did.
Oh, yeah.
There was a level of people looking at me like you're an alien with a green head and there's something wrong with you.
I mean, applying for apartments, and getting judged because it was just me moving and not the father moving, when my daughter would act up in school or different things, besides them calling me her last name, them making assumptions when she does different things, and then having a meeting with me, and after they meet with me, the look on the confusion on their face, like, oh, she's not ratchet,
She not ghetto.
She got structure at home. Or like the teacher saying, oh, like my daughter did something. I can't remember what it was. It was something. She said something smart to the teacher or something. I never forget. And the teacher was like, what do you do when she does it at home? I said, she don't do that at home. Miss ma'am, we don't play that. So we don't have those issues here. But I would talk to her and we'll work on it not happening again. But don't ask me what I do, because I don't have to do, because we don't have that problem. She knows better.
Okay. So, teenage parent, brought your first home, lost your first home.
Right.
Then got it back. Then got it back. Then when you got back. So how was it? What was it get back?
I had to downsize to renting first.
Okay. So what was that process like? Lost the home, you rented, then you figured out how to, I'm assuming this is all on disability still.
No, so I was on disability for about 2 years, intermittently, with boots, casts, physical therapy, and eventually I had surgery, and then I had to do like physical therapy, work conditioning, because that's just how it works.
That's still a lot, though.
Yeah, it was. It took about 2 years before I was able to like be back at work. And at that point, it was like, okay, well, I have to get off the post office, because I know I cannot work on this ankle another 30 years. So
when you lost your home, where'd you go? Did you go back home to mama? Did you get your own apartment?
It wasn't an option. So that's another part. I left home like 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there wasn't an option to go back. That's what I'm saying. I didn't have that as an option. So when I lost the house, I went and rented in a condo, and I basically approached the, people. You basically, the way you do it, you find a private owner, and you sit down and you find a private landlord, and you let them know, like, I've had some financial struggles, but I am willing to make first, last, and I'll make 2 months rent payment ahead of time if that makes you feel more comfortable renting to me. You basically have a conversation with the private landlord and let them know, like, this is what happened, kind of like a letter of explanation like you would give when you buy a house. And you essentially do it directly with the lender. It's going to be hard to get a place when it comes to like big property management companies and things like that. So I went and rented a condo, and it was a private owner who owned the condo. Talked to them, paid up my rent. I think I paid like 2 or 3 months rent ahead of time moving in. So I had cushion, and that's what made them feel comfortable renting to me. And I stayed there about 2-3 years, never paid late. And that's how I rebuilt.
And this is why I tell y'all cash is king, and cash will always be king. Right?
I don't know, but credit is the queen, and you can't be, the king always is queen.
No. But that's what I say. I say cash is king, credit is queen.
Oh, okay.
When you marry them together, you have a beautiful empire.
Man.
Right? But the king got to be established first, right? Because if you ain't got no cash, you can't pay the credit card bill, and then you go over your credit. And so
Facts.
you need cash.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you how did you get 3 months aside though at that time? Single mom, working at the post office.
Because I was in foreclosure. They wasn't accepting any of my money.
So you saved your bread.
Right.
No. I mean, I asked that question because a lot of people won't do that even in that situation.
Well, see, that's the thing. When you're a single parent and you have a child dependent on you, me being homeless didn't only mean me being homeless. And I didn't have a parent to go to. My father wasn't present, and my mom, I wasn't in a contact with. So what option do you have? You know, when you put backed against the wall, you're going to fight. If you got a bear going after you and you backed against the wall, you have no choice but to fight.
Gotcha.
So, you know, sometimes it's the predicament. Sometimes people need that fire put under them, and that will motivate you to do or figure it out, as I tell my child.
Now, I mean, it's saying, you know, you came from a broken home, sounds like.
Facts.
You didn't have a great relationship with your mother and your father. But what was it that kept you going? Right? Because clearly your child was in school, you were participating, excuse me, and you were providing structure, and it sounds like positivity as well.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So what gave you that though?
What gave me that? That's a good question. I don't know if at some point in my life I determined that I wanted more, like that I was destined to have more. Like, so growing up, I was always the straight A student, great in school. I mean, top of my class. So I've always been like in high school, I had teachers who just really believed in me and tried to put me in everything because they saw the potential in what I could do. So I don't know if I just decided that one day, like, I don't want to be, it could have been the motivation of me not wanting to be where I was and making sure my daughter didn't experience what I experienced growing up, and making sure she lived in good neighborhoods. She didn't live in the hood and have people getting killed in front of her house. And just dealing with those type of things. So that was one of my motivating factors. Like, well, you got to do this because we can't go back. It's almost like, you know, it's not similar. Like, I don't want to equate it to someone getting out of jail, but it's kind of like, I'm not going back to that. So I got to go this way because we're not going that way.
Well, you just wanted to make a change.
Mm-hmm. I wanted that change badly, very badly.
And somehow, some kind of way, you figured out that there's better. There's a lot of people who never figure out that there's better though.
I know how I figured out there's better.
Please tell us.
So I grew up in Chicago, on the west side of Chicago, and anybody, like, I don't know if you know anything about Chicago. Chicago is a very segregated city. So on the west side of Chicago, it's very bare, a lot of vacant lots, a lot of open spaces, empty, vacant buildings, and things like that. A lot of food deserts, hell, a lot of deserts, period, if you could have a desert in the middle of a city, because it's not a lot of resources there for you. So when I was in 8th grade, so I'm going to say like February of 1997, which would have been my 8th grade year, my mom moved us from the west side to the north side of Chicago. And now the north side is a completely different environment. If I think or talk to a lot of people who went to grammar school with me from the west side, they're either in jail, a lot of them got killed and are no longer here with us, or they're just not doing well. So her moving me to the north side and meeting other children who hadn't lived the way I lived, it was a lot of people from other cultures. So I learned a lot about how other countries raise their children, like just seeing how the children acted different, learning about a lot of cultures and different people speaking different languages. So when I lived on the urban or the west side, I only knew Black people. I didn't know anybody else, any other color. When I moved to the north side, it was completely different. And I saw people living differently than we lived on the west side. Because I grew up in poverty. Like, it probably was below poverty. Like, seriously, it's bad. Like, some stuff I wouldn't even ever say on anybody's podcast. So that's what showed me, like, oh, again, like, because you always think that your world is everything. So you go up north, and I'm like, oh, This is different. Like they got
So you
15 stores.
had a perspective change.
Correct, which is why the name of my company is called Perspectives.
And I didn't know that.
Shameless plug.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why the name of my company is Perspectives, because when you change your perspective about money, you use it differently. That's what it's all about.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. Okay. I feel like a detective now. I'm uncovering all kinds of jewels and gems. Okay, so was there one thing or one or two things that really stood out to you when you moved from the north side from the west side to the north side that really was an eye opener for you?
Definitely was the other cultures. So talking to other cultures and going to school with them and learning the differences and how their parents were and how they were and how their houses were. And then the neighborhood, it was houses everywhere, stores everywhere. There were no vacant lots. None of the lots were vacant. Like everything had something in it. There were plenty of grocery stores, nail stores, Quickie Marts. You know what I'm saying? We actually had a Quick Mart, so it was a completely different environment. Even the people talk different. So
really?
It was, because they talk more so like, I guess you would call it AAVE.
Talking black folks, talking black.
Right. So, but on the north side, they didn't talk like that, especially because it was a lot of people who wasn't from there. But I also attribute that to my travel, because that's why I'll go to plenty of other countries and try different foods, because I grew up with most likely I grew up with somebody from that country, and I probably know a little bit about it.
That's interesting. All right. So got evicted. Well, foreclosed on, right?
Right. I didn't let them evict me. No.
But you found a condo, right? You worked out a deal. You stayed there for about 2-3 years. You said then you moved. So did you buy a home then, or did you move to another apartment?
No, I actually moved in with my cousin because my aunt passed. So when I moved from the house into a condo, I moved back to the north side because I had bought the house in the south suburbs because it was cheaper, better bang for my buck. But my aunt got sick. So when it was time for me to leave, which full disclosure, I lied and told everybody I was leaving on my own. I went and rented an apartment north. And then my aunt ended up passing away, and she only had one child, and my cousin was young. So I ended up moving in with her, and she left the place for a while because, she had to process her mom dying, and she didn't want to be there. So I stayed there for 2 years.
And then I'm assuming you didn't have to pay rent or mortgage payment.
Yes, I did have to pay rent.
Okay. All right. So you moved there, but they had left. So what made you stay there?
We owned the condo. My auntie owned the condo and it was paid off. So
Gotcha.
She wasn't leaving permanently. It's just that her mom had spent a lot of her last time there because she was very sick. So she needed that time away from the place. She was 20, 21, and your only parent just passed away.
Right.
So she didn't leave. Correct. She is there now.
Gotcha. So, okay, once you moved in with auntie and cousin, then did you buy a home or did you?
Still didn't.
So, all right, tell me. Unpack it for me.
I did not. I still have it to this moment. I've only bought investment property. I haven't bought a primary residence.
So, what made you buy a primary residence? Excuse me. What made you buy an investment property versus buying a primary residence?
To help finance my primary residence.
But most people think I'm going to buy my primary residence and I'm not going to get an investment property.
Let me pull the mic a little closer. I'm not most people.
She talking her stuff tonight. She know that's a legitimate question, but okay.
I know, but no, seriously. I bought the investment property because my thing at the end of the day is the same. I tell my student, there are no cookie cutter solutions for anybody. Everything you do is based on what your goals are and what you're trying to do.
Hold on. Gotta do something. All right. Y'all know why I'm doing it. I think everybody knows why I'm doing that because
why are you doing that?
Personal finance is not personal.
It's personal.
Cookie cutter solutions are trash. Bullshit. If anybody just give you some prescribed recommendations for money or anything in life, 9 times out of 10 it ain't gonna work.
Right. It's no way for it to. So Me personally, I have a goal. I still have a 9 to 5, but I have a timeline when I plan to leave my 9 to 5. But when I leave that 9 to 5, I have a certain amount of investment properties I want to have, as well as a certain level I want my business to be at, so that those two will fund my income, will be my income, while my actual retirement assets are deferred. So that's what my goal is. So with that goal, which one makes more sense to help me get to that goal? Buying a primary residence in a market that's very expensive that I'm trying to relocate from, or get my first investment property. So I attempted to the multi-unit route first, where I was going to house hack, which basically means that I live in one unit and then rent out the others. But the NOI wasn't NOI, which NOI is net operating income. And that's basically calculating how much money I will make from a property after I've paid all my bills. And I mean all my bills. I'm calculating the vacancy rate. I'm calculating the CapEx rate, which is basically the amount of maintenance you might have to put in the property. I'm adding my property manager. I'm adding my accountant who will be doing my taxes for that property. And I'm adding my landscaping. I need all of that to be covered and still have cash flow for me to purchase a property. So looking at the properties in Chicago to do that at the multi-unit level, it just didn't fit into my timetable. It was not doing what it needed to do. So I bought an investment property first, and I was planning on relocating. So that's why I still just now, once I got here, I'm buying my first primary residence since losing the property in 2010.
Okay. I'm surprised you're not trying to house hack though.
Well, Georgia does not have real estate like Chicago does. They don't have all the brownstones and triplexes and they don't have the real estate that Chicago has.
They don't have duplexes in no.
Barely.
Got you. Well, it seems like everybody's barely, right? Because everybody's been buying up multi-units.
Maybe, but see, Chicago is probably, like you mentioned, Philly having duplexes and triplexes. Chicago has plenty of them. Like you have so many options to get them. The problem is that unless you want to buy in a very distressed neighborhood, I want quality tenants who's going to live in quality neighborhoods. So that doesn't work for me and my investment style.
Got you. Mm-hmm. So you went through all this. When did you start teaching?
Once I graduated with my MBA, because that's when I had time. I worked 2 jobs while I was getting my MBA. So it took me to finish my MBA, and which was not until January 2017. And then I started my business August of 2017.
Now, what made you want to get an MBA?
So when I was working for the Postal Service and I decided that I no longer could carry mail for 30 more years because I now have a bum ankle at a young age, I had to devise a plan of what I'm going to do. So I started applying to different jobs. I completed my bachelor's, and then And
what was your bachelor's in?
Business administration.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. My associate's and bachelor's was business administration until I got to my MBA, then I did finance. And so I transferred from the Postal Service to another federal agency, but because a lot of federal agencies don't see being a mail carrier as specialized experience, it was hard for me to get a job at the same pay level. So I had to take a $20,000 pay cut and become a receptionist at the new agency in order for them to take me, but I wanted weekends off. And
but you got that good government job with the benefits.
But I already had it. I was at the Postal Service. I had a good government job.
Yeah, but now it's inside, and you ain't got to fight with dogs and be outside with rain, sleet, snow, or hail, all that.
So or most importantly, deal with management in the post office. Because I fully understand why the term postal exists. That's a whole nother podcast episode.
All right, don't get me in trouble.
But yeah, so I needed to figure out a new plan of what am I going to do to get my money back up. So the agency that I transferred, getting an MBA in finance, qualified me for the higher level position in that agency. So it was strategic.
And did the government help pay for your MBA?
Absolutely not. No, they didn't offer. The agency I worked for didn't offer tuition reimbursement. So honestly, that's another fact. I paid and financed my education up to my bachelor's.
Nice.
I had a whole system down every semester. But for my master's, I took loans.
Okay.
Because no, they didn't finance any of it. No.
Now, are you satisfied with your education and the
Absolutely,
fact
positively, yes. It would definitely made a huge difference in my life. It made a huge difference in my income. It helped me use more of my mind and less of my body in my job. It allowed me to get a job that actually allowed me to build my business and fund my business because as an entrepreneur, it is not free.
ain't nothing
All
free?
these systems, this StreamYard that we on right now, the platform that I house my courses, being able to have enough storage on Google to hold all these images and all this content, all of that stuff costs money.
It
So
does.
my post-education job is what financed all of that. They always say, oh, the job that's the money they give you to bribe you to forget your dreams. No, it's up to you to use it to fund your dreams, because all that I have built in my business, if I didn't have this post-education job, there's no way I would have been able to do it at the post office. No.
Now, you can tell, if you just listen to Nia, you can tell why she and I are friends. Because I say, use your job to finance your freedom. And you basically said it almost verbatim. And I believe that. Like, I really hate all the job shaming that's going on out here. Like, it's crazy.
At this point now, I have 16 years of federal service. How sexy do you think that looks on these real estate applications? That's allowing me to
the mortgage lenders are fighting over you.
I'm buying a house right now. I shop with 3 lenders. I got 3 pre-approval letters, nice and shiny. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to use it to get the same way they're using you to accomplish their mission statement or whatever that company is trying to accomplish. You got to use them for whatever you're trying to accomplish. Use them the same way they're using you.
That's a fact. I agree with that. 1000%.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got three approvals. Are we close to finding a place?
No, I just started. Yesterday was my first day looking. I just got here. Dang. And I went to FinCon. Then I came back from FinCon, went to a wedding.
Listen, I ain't known you that long, but I do know you well enough to know that you don't wait on nothing.
No, I already started looking at houses, and I just got here. Yeah, I started looking at houses.
I mean, you might have had something that struck your fancy. You're like, I want to get that.
I had one of them that I liked, but the problem with it is it was too close to my high range that I'm looking for, and it needed too much work. If I have to put work into it close to closing, I need it to be closer to my lower number, not my higher.
Got you. Is there any particular area? Are you in Atlanta proper, in the city? Do you want to be out in the suburbs? It seems like
in the suburbs.
Is the suburbs, yeah.
Yeah, the suburbs is more bang for my buck.
Okay. Good luck to you in all that highway traffic. It seems like everything's a daggone highway down there.
Yeah, but I work from home most days.
Yeah, God bless you.
4 days a week.
She just pulled up. It's like, yep, I ain't got to do that. I ain't got to do that at all.
Yeah, it's above me.
Okay. So, all right, well, let's back up a minute. Because I know you have an investment property that's out of town. It's not in Chicago.
In Illinois, yes.
Oh, it's still in Illinois, though?
Yeah, it's in Illinois. It's not in Chicago, but it's in Illinois.
How far away from Chicago is it?
About 2-3 hours.
What made you do that?
The NOI.
So you weren't afraid of not being there or able to be boots on the ground, being able to see what's going on with your tenants.
I do have boots on the ground. My property manager.
Okay.
The entire time I've had that property, I have a property manager. So the way that I found it out, your network determines your net worth.
Say that again.
Your network determines your net worth. My mentor, my real estate investing mentor, he has a friend who invested in that city. And he's like, wait a minute, don't you live in Illinois? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you ever heard of Peoria? I'm like, yeah, I heard of Peoria. He was like, go down there on you, because I drive to meet, and I'm like secret squirrel. I just follow him around and just learn and ask all my questions. It works. I learned a lot.
No, I think that's dope, right? Because there's some people, and I know you're not some people and you're not average, right? But there's some people like, I'm not going to be following a person around.
Oh, no.
Even though clearly they're giving you the game.
But this is
Right.
why he give me the game. I drive 5-6 hours by myself to go get a hotel and literally go. We at Home Depot 3 times a day. We had 2-3 different properties. We talking to contractors, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know what a main stack was.
And now it's got for ventilation.
I didn't know what none of that was. I know these things because of that. So he told me, he was like, well, I got a friend who just bought a property down there in Peoria. On your way back home, like, go check it out. So I went home. I didn't go on my way home from meeting, but I went online, plotted about 15-20 properties, drove down there and drove around to look at the neighborhood, see what they look like, see those properties, what the outside looked like. And I called them back and was like, yeah, connect me with your friend. Off the strength of him, his friend let me come down there and visit his open house, answer all my questions on how that process went, introduce me to his realtor / property manager, and the rest was history.
Nice. So no horror stories about investing out of town.
I just paid $10,000 for a dewatering system. I mean, but that's just
what's a dewatering system?
Job. That's just the hazard of the job.
What's a dewatering system?
So they put a submersive sub pump in the ground. They opened up 2 walls and the ground. They put a submersive sump pump down there, which means they had to put a outlet down there. And they went in and they reinforced both walls. I had water that kept coming up, and I tried to fix it before, and it wasn't being fixed, and it was consistently being an issue. So it's a patented system.
No, but it's funny you bring it up, right? So I know what you're talking about. We don't call it dewatering.
That's apparently what they called it.
And that's fine. It's fine. But dang, I did that job like right after high school. I did it for one day. It's the only job I've ever quit in one day.
What happened?
It's hard as hell.
Oh, it is?
So we would
so that's why it costs $9,000.
Yeah, we would have to trench out around a home. It depends on the structure of the home, right? But typically a lot of these are, let's say, a single family home. You're trenching. Yeah, you're trenching out anywhere from 18 inches to 4 feet down in the ground on the outside. Then on the inside, you have to trench in the basement. I think a lot of them call it French drains, and they call it something else too.
You had a lot of terms on the proposal.
Yeah. And then, they'll have a spot where water will flow, where they will dig out and they will put a sump pump there to pump out the water. And you got to run lines and all that. So, yeah, it ain't easy. It ain't easy at all.
Well, it cost $9,000. And then I had to pay my property manager 10% for managing it. So that's why I say I spent $10,000.
So he got 10% off of the fee of getting it installed? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Nice.
Exactly. Nice.
Well, no. So I used to be a property manager as well. If I ever get back in the market, I need to find a property manager. I don't know if I'm getting back in the market, but I got horror stories.
I always say property manager. I don't care if I live the building. My friends always crack up at me because I say when I do buy a multi-unit, I plan on not letting them know I'm the owner. I'm going to play the role with them. Like, man, I called the owner. Do you know they're not answering my damn call? I'm going to play the role right with them.
Well, just don't let them know you're doing content. Don't let them know who you are. Right, but I agree with you, right? Because that would be my strategy if I were to ever house hack, or what I recommend to a lot of young folks when they house hack, just get a property manager. They said, well, that's eating into my profit. Well,
that's why you fund it. You make your rents to include that into it. So it's not
your numbers aren't right. Exactly.
Correct. Your numbers aren't right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because if you can't afford 10%, I mean, I know everybody has a different formula, but 5%, 10%.
She charges 10.
Mm-hmm. Well, we used to charge 10 too, but there are other people that will charge 5 and then they charge a higher fee for maintenance and renovations and acquired tenants. Yeah, like everybody's got their own thing. Mm-hmm. But my point is that if you can't factor that into your initial numbers,
you're not doing it right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. You're not doing it right. So I encourage everybody to get a property manager. Now, it's hard though, because all property managers
not built the same.
They are not. There's a lot of horror stories.
Absolutely. Yes. I've heard some.
Yes. So That's dope. So how long have you had that property?
3 years. I bought it almost 3 years ago.
Okay. So going through all this, right? Financial trauma, everything else you've been through, would you change anything about your journey?
Hell yeah.
You would.
Yeah.
What would you change?
Why it always got to be so hard? Why can't it be easy sometimes?
Because nothing worthwhile comes easy.
Yeah, but it don't have to be that hard.
I mean, everybody's heart is different, right?
My heart be hard.
Pause.
Me and my friends got a running joke. Like, I can't ever get anything easy. I got to do 3 triple flips. Or like if something starts being super hard and just almost impossible, they're like, oh, you about to get it. Cause that means you about to get it. Cause that's the way my life go. Like I can't get stuff simple. Like me even moving here, my car had to blow up. It's never a just.
Okay, you can't. I think I knew about that, but I didn't know about that. You can't just blaze over
my
that.
car before I moved here. Yeah, like right before I moved here.
So did you drive your car from Chicago to Atlanta?
Okay, so I came to Atlanta for 2 weeks to check it out.
Mm.
To say like, because I wanted to move somewhere else at first, but I was considering moving to Atlanta. So I was like, oh, well, let me go, and I have a friend here. I'm like, let me go just check it out and see. So I'm gonna stay there for 2 weeks. Like, so it's longer than just a typical going for a weekend and coming out. So I drove down here because I'm not going to use my car every day. So it makes no sense to me to pay for a rental car every day while it's just literally sitting out there. So I drove my car. On my way back, it caught on fire on the side of the expressway and burned down on I-75.
Oh, so you were still in Georgia?
Yeah, and it's a whole story.
So why did it burn down?
I was under contract. I was under contract on a multi-unit.
In Georgia?
No, in Cleveland.
Okay.
It was when I say no sooner than I sent the earnest money and inspection money, paid the invoice for the inspection, I got the email from my property manager about the dewatering system being needed with the $9,000 proposal. And I'm like, huh?
In Illinois.
Yes, Illinois. Okay. Correct. And I'm like, dang, when you're under contract, I can't move $9,000. So I'm like, dang, how am I going to do this? So that was the sign right there telling me that I need to get out of this property. But I didn't listen. I was hard-headed. I didn't get out of it then. I was still trying to figure out how I was going to make it happen. So then she came back and was like, oh, well, your tenant called Section 8 and Section 8 want to come out and do an inspection. And they want to come out and do an inspection. I'm like, damn it. Because I know I'm going to fail. And, you fail. And if they come out again and you fail again, and they'll kick you off and they'll let the tenant move out. And it's a whole thing.
And for everybody that's listening and watching, like Section 8 inspections are major. They're not.
Yes. Correct. The drama.
They always find something. A lot of times.
Exactly. The drama. So I'm like, So I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. I'm going to work this out. So literally talk to my boss Friday morning, asked about the possibility of transferring because I'm like, oh, I like it here. So let me ask about transferring. On my way home, have many problems. Saturday, mechanic was looking at my car in the middle of East Ridge, Tennessee, might I add, because that's the other part to the story. In the middle of East Ridge, Tennessee, looking at my car. And
so you did make it out of Georgia. You got to Tennessee.
Barely, because I was like Calhoun, Georgia, East Ridge, Tennessee. I was barely, almost.
Okay.
That's what my joke was. My car didn't want to leave. It liked it so much. It didn't want to leave Georgia.
But that's a sign right there.
So then that happened. So I'm like, dang. So I got to get home. It took me to like Sunday night to get home. Section 8 inspection is coming up. Talk to my job on Wednesday. I got the transfer.
Wait a minute. We got to go back. How did the car catch on fire?
I don't know.
So did the car catch on fire before or after you went to the mechanic?
No. So, okay, I went to the mechanic the first time and it was making this noise. So we fixed the noise like right there and they had me keep pressing the gas to make sure that the noise went away. So we did that. We fixed that. And then I got back on the road. So I should preface this and say I had a Hyundai Sonata. They've been catching on fire. Like they got a $3.3 million lawsuit right now because they was catching on fire. One of them caught on fire and burned somebody's house down because it was in a garage. So it's apparently an issue with them that they feisty. I don't know. So
And this is
Yes.
a new one or old one?
No, I had that car for 10 years.
Okay.
It was the engine though. So the fire department had to cut the hood to get to the engine because that's where the fire, like my car burned down. Like, I don't know if I could hurry up and send you a picture to show them. This car, the only thing that was operable was the trunk. Everything else. Like, do you want me to find a picture real quick?
Yeah, you can send it to me. Yeah, that's fine.
It was bad. It was bad. I got a video. I got you even better.
Okay, so the car caught on fire in Tennessee or in Georgia?
It was Calhoun, Georgia / East Ridge, Tennessee. So
Okay, so right there at the.
It was on the side of the expressway.
So how did you get home?
Exactly. That is the question. Exactly.
You walked?
I had to take the Greyhound.
You took a Greyhound.
Flights from Chattanooga was like $600.
Right.
For one way, which was absurd.
So you took the bus. How big of a monkey wrench did that put in your plan?
Oh, hell, it was a huge monkey wrench. I didn't get home till Sunday night. I left Friday afternoon.
Okay. But you still were able to get the Section 8 inspection settled and handled and all that, right?
Say that again?
You were still able to get the Section 8 inspection and everything else settled, right?
I had to walk away from the property.
Oh, so that was the property. Okay. I was thinking that Section 8 inspection was for the Illinois property.
The Section 8 was for the Illinois property. I was in the middle of purchasing
the one in Ohio.
Correct.
Right.
So I had to walk away from it because now I need to buy a car.
No, I got that. But I was asking about the Section 8 inspection you were having in Illinois. Were you able to get back in time because you were on the bus?
I didn't need to get back. I have a property
manager. Okay, gotcha.
It wasn't a problem with getting back. It was a more so of being able to get the repair done so I wouldn't fail the inspection. Getting back to the property. I haven't been to the property since my home inspection. No, since closing.
Okay. Gotcha.
I haven't been there since closing. That's why I pay her for it.
Yeah, okay. I got you. All right, let me take a quick break as Nia gets us that picture.
I'm sending it to you right now. I'm gonna send it to Philly Tax Team.
Yeah, or send it to the WhatsApp.
I can't. I'm on a computer.
That's fine.
Oh, you know what? I can send it to your WhatsApp.
Miss Edie's Kitchen. How are you, lady? How you doing?
You've been ignoring their comments, being nosy in my life.
I'm coming. I'm getting to them. I'm trying to talk to you, right? Listen, you know men don't multitask well. Good evening to you as well. Gotta give you the horns. All right, Still Rock says that's why I stay in the South. I can't fool ice and snow.
Man, smart man. Is that a man or a woman?
Man.
Okay, smart man.
But listen, they saying what's it St. Richard or what's the almanac guy's name? They're predicting a hard winter this year. Yeah. So we might get snow everywhere. And Atlanta gets snow. Last time Atlanta got snow.
That's fine.
Shut down. Exactly. Like an inch.
But that's why I like Atlanta, because they know how to handle snow. They don't consider it. Yes, they do. They shut down. That's what you should do. Go in the house.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My idea of handling snow is plowing, salting, brining, and going back to work.
No, see, that's the problem. That's what's wrong with you. See, they got you confused over there. Wait.
Don't act like you're not from Chicago, like Chicago don't deal with snow all the time.
And that's the problem. They take it as a challenge to see how normal they can operate despite how many inches of snow they get. And it's insane. It's insane. It's something wrong with them.
All right, Still Rock says, I'm thinking about getting my MBA too. I don't know about these papers. I get you.
Yeah, because it's going to be a lot of them.
I've been thinking about going back to school because I've always wanted to teach at a collegiate level. But I don't know. I don't want no more student loans.
So I want to get my AFC, but not go back to school.
All right.
Okay, video sent.
Okay, I heard something go off. I'll catch you. And obtain the next level of our plan. That is true. But you can, it's just a lot harder.
She said shutting down is handling it, not in. They are definitely overpriced in jail. It is. But it's not as bad as Chicago, believe it or not.
I mean, I think it's all bad now, right? The
It's
Fed
bad.
punched so much money into the system, it just made everything bad.
It's bad, but compared to the prices in Chicago, what you can get here, you can't get that there.
I agree.
When I'm talking to people about like me looking and the prices, they're like, "What?"
Yeah, all's well for me as well. Shutting down his hand. Yeah, not neat. Humbly submitted. Yeah.
Don't listen to me, girl.
Well, she's in the Bronx, so she's in New York. Like
She knows. If she in New York, she know.
Yeah, we handle snow
because they get it. Yeah, they get it too.
We handle the snow.
I just want to go in the house. So what it really is I don't like the winter as a whole. And me being a carrier for 8 years and actually being out in the elements has made me grow even more tired of it. So during the winter, I hibernate. I don't go out. Like I'm single. I don't date in the winter. Nope.
That's cuddling season.
Not for me, apparently.
Okay.
Because I'm not getting out and getting all cute and all that and put on 5 layers.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I don't like it. And then I don't like the days and days and days of dark and no sun. I don't like that either.
Yeah, I'm looking at this video and oh boy, this it did burn down. All right, let me show it to everybody.
I was not exaggerating. I'm not an exaggerator.
Not in that one. You be exaggerating.
I talk stuff. No, I talk stuff.
Well, that is exaggeration.
No. When it comes to telling real stories, I tell the truth. I talk stuff that's completely different. That's playing around.
All right. So check this out, y'all. This is wild.
Wow. You see that?
Yes.
It looked like my car was on NCIS.
It should have been.
You see this? So that's where they had to cut to get to the engine.
It literally was burned down to the ground. You were not exaggerating.
No, I was not exaggerating.
That's crazy.
I had that car for 10 years.
That's crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like most people cars just break down.
Oh. All right. So now we're in Georgia. Clearly you are tenacious. You are a go-getter. Because some people would have said, I know you're not some people, but some people were like, well, maybe this is a sign I'm not supposed to be in Georgia. But you kept going anyway. They what?
I took it differently. But see, it's because my life, like I'm telling you, things happen like crazily. So I took it as like, okay, yeah, it's
a sign.
To me, I took it as a sign it wasn't meant for me to buy the property. That's what I took, because everything that happened, literally the moment I sent and paid that invoice, was things that I couldn't do while I was under contract. Right. I can't buy a new car and I can't move this lump sum of money because it's frowned upon. Right. So to me, I took it as it's not meant for me to get this property. And then I found out that my transfer was granted. And my transfer was granted so quick, within a week I had a start date. And now I had 5 weeks to move.
Okay. All right.
So I took it as it meant that I don't know what's going to happen with that Cleveland property, but I took it to mean I wasn't supposed to purchase it.
Gotcha.
That's what I took it as.
I see. So, Miss Edie says, did the car blow while you were in it?
It didn't. I wasn't in it. The mechanic was in it, but yes, it did blow.
Whoa.
Was it on?
It
was on the side of the expressway. Like I can see in the video, the car is in flames, on fire, and the cars are zoom, zoom, zoom.
And MJ says, "Holy jet fuel!"
Literally.
Jeez. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
They're right. Like Batman.
So you moved to Atlanta now. So Atlanta is now becoming home base.
Yep.
I got jokes about it, but I'll spare you.
Go ahead.
Nope.
You don't got to.
Well, it's not really about you. It's about Atlanta. But the business, the coaching business, what made you continue to do that? I know everybody was already asking you questions about getting it home, doing it properly. But what really made you go forward and say, I'm going to make this a real business?
So I originally was going to start my business back after I bought the house, but it was going to be a credit repair business. And funny, it was going to be called Credit Wise.
Really?
But guess who has a company now? Like if I would have patented it then, but Capital One, their credit part is called Credit Wise.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was going to be the name of my business, and I was going to do credit repair. But I determined all them letters and arguing with credit bureaus, it was not for me. That was not my ministry.
Okay.
So I decided that it needed to be more so all finance. But again, I had to wait till after I graduated, where I had the time to dedicate to starting the business. Because again, first gen, my parents had my dad had a business, but it wasn't like the way I'm building my business. I'm building my business to scale into a big business. Like when I leave my job, I want to have an operations manager. I don't want to leave my job for another job.
Right.
So I mainly do budgeting, saving, money mindset, spending habits, helping people overcome money mistakes and transforming spending habits.
And you don't do credit at all?
No, I do credit. Like I'll do a credit info session. Like if I'm hired to speak and I know about credit, so I can educate on credit, but I don't do any credit repair. Like even if people come to me for home ownership, if they specifically need credit repair, I refer them out. I actually send most of them to Markia.
Right. Shout out to Markia.
So I originally just did that. When I bought the investment property, I walked my people through the whole process. I'm talking repair amendment, every single step. And when I did that, I got so many questions, horror stories that happened that helped me know, like, oh my God, people really don't know anything about buying a home. Because you think these things, it's second nature to you. At that point, it was my second home buying transaction. So to me, it's like, okay, this is just what you go through when you buy a home. But like the questions I got, the horror stories about people buying a car or financing their furniture and losing their home loan and just different things. And that's what made me start to educate people on home ownership. But initially, I just do budgeting, savings, debt repayment, but just seeing the need. Essentially, that's the short way to put it.
Now, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like you are educating female home buyers, but I haven't heard you. You are.
I am.
So that you are specifically, intentionally helping women, potential home buyers.
I'm specifically helping high achieving women who are typically excelling well, but they just didn't receive personal finance education. And they're looked at by most of the people in the world as having it all together. And they put extra pressure on themselves to stay and uphold those standards set on them by other people, but they just didn't know about financial education. So they typically don't have bad credit, but because they don't have bad credit, they have a lot of high credit card balances, which is consistently, I say, having a paycheck in a chokehold. So that's who I essentially help. And I help them overcome their money mistakes and release the shame away from their money. Because I've made about every money mistake. I've been evicted, foreclosed, filed bankruptcy. Like I've done it all. And none of that dictates what my current situation is.
Right.
None of that takes away from it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's who I essentially help. I don't turn away men and say, oh no, I won't help you. But typically that's who's resonated with my content. That's who's taken my courses. I don't have one man that's ever signed. I even have a Facebook group and it has a few men in there. They don't like anything. They don't comment anything. They don't participate. They actually jacking up my algorithm is what they're doing. But the minute I say, oh, I'm going to turn this into an only women group, now I'm getting inboxes. Oh no, don't do that. I learned a lot. So where you at? I forget that you in here. So that is why I happily help men, but they don't approach me to get help.
Okay.
They can take my content, but even when I look at my analytics, it's always mostly women.
So do you work with people individually or is it group settings or just straight courses?
So I have online courses and I have a monthly membership. In the monthly membership, I bring financial experts such as yourself that I vet and I stalk them on social media and make sure that they have integrity and they're not out here shooting bull caca out in these out in these internet streets. And I bring them each month to teach on different topics, and we go through all the topics, personal finance. So that's what I do in the monthly membership. So if somebody needs a little bit more hand holding, I suggest they do the membership because I do it like in a cohort fashion. So that's when you can join, and I go through the first 5 courses. We all do it together, and I do a live session to kind of introduce them to the community, as well as get them in the habit of like what taking the courses looks like, and just helping them start to work through their money issues.
I love it. I love it. That's dope. Because a lot of people do need hand holding.
Yes.
A lot of times people are embarrassed.
They are. And I tried coaching, but it didn't work for me because they hard-headed too.
Well, you're still doing a formal coaching. You're just doing group coaching, so to speak. I know you are a financial educator, but it comes with a level of coaching.
But it's not group coaching. Like I used to do group coaching, like do a budget strategy session, go through their budget, create a debt repayment plan for them, things like that. And then I would give them homework.
But see, coaching isn't necessarily you doing that. That's them doing it.
Yeah, but I used to like facilitate it for them. I used to be much more of a hand holder, but
So
they would come back and not do it.
So when you have your cohorts and you said you go through the first 5 lessons, what are you doing there?
I basically meet with them. I tell them like, this is the first course we're doing. These are the worksheets that's doing. And then I'm going live to talk to them, and they can ask whatever questions they have about the homework. They can ask whatever questions they have.
I'm just saying.
But we don't get into specifics of that's their job to get into the specifics, as opposed to when I did group coaching before, we got into the specifics of their financial situations.
Just a different layer. That's all.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a lighter version, and which also makes it more affordable.
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, what would you have done different? You said you would change this. What would you have done?
I wanted to have a better childhood.
Well, you don't have no control over that. You don't have no control over that now.
You said if I could go back.
Okay, if you can go back and change something that you made the decision to do.
Something that I made the decision to do?
Right, because
I would not have suffered alone. I would have never got foreclosed on my first house because I would not have suffered alone and just sat there and dealt with it. I would have reached out and let somebody know so that I could find out about more resources to help me, or possibly I would have found out, just call them. And you know what I mean? Because if I would have called them earlier, maybe they could have moved a mortgage payment to the end, or, some type of hardship program. This was post 2008. It was only 2 years after 2008. So they would have had plenty of options for me had I contacted them before it went into foreclosure status.
So you wouldn't have suffered in silence. So
absolutely. Positively.
Right.
Absolutely. Positively.
Yeah. A lot of people, I think we're all guilty of it to some degree, right?
Absolutely.
All choose to suffer in silence a lot of times. It doesn't have to be like that.
It does not. And that's what I learned. So that I definitely would have did differently.
Okay. Now here's an interesting thing. I was at Whiskey Fest last week in Philly. Yes. And one of my friends brought their sister, who is a bankruptcy attorney.
Ooh, nice.
But they work for mortgage companies. So they're handling when people go into bankruptcy and to make sure that the mortgage company gets represented so they can get their money, basically.
So they go to the 341 meeting.
I guess. I don't know the name of it. But the question I always have for bankruptcy attorneys, I'm like, do you have a lot of Black people there? They're like, no. It's like Black people look down on bankruptcy like it's the plague.
No, it's not that. Black people go to debt consolidation companies, and they go in Chicago, and I don't think you have anybody on here from Chicago. It's this guy named Peter Francis Geraci, and anybody from Chicago knows Peter Francis Geraci. He used to have his commercials on late at night, and he has all of his locations in the hood. None of them are in the quote unquote good neighborhoods. Very predatory. He charges $4,000 for his bankruptcy And so people go to him before they will go to a lawyer because he advertises how he's going to stop the debt collection and how he's going to help them save their licenses and help
So
stop.
it's not bankruptcy, it's debt consolidation, but
No, it's
advertising.
bankruptcy. It's bankruptcy, but he
Oh.
just charges like 3 times the amount that it costs. But
Mm,
it's because of the way that he markets it. He
mm.
markets it, you know, and he markets it to, he knows his target audience and he knows them well. He highlights their pain points and how he can solve them. They can't, you know, they're in jeopardy of losing their license. They're about, you know what I mean? Things like that he highlights. And so they go to him over an attorney, even though an attorney would be 3 times cheaper.
Right. And I believe the courts set the fees for attorneys when it comes to bankruptcy. I haven't looked at it.
He
in a
charged,
while.
I don't know what extra he's putting in there, but my daughter's father, he went to him, and my niece, both of them that I know, both of the people I went to, they went there.
So
Me
he
and my-
is an attorney.
yeah, he's an attorney,
Uh-uh.
but he charges $4,000, and I know that for a fact because I filed my proof of claim for my daughter's father, and I was able to see. And then, you know, you can go online and see people, you know,
Right. Yeah, a lot of it's public information. Yeah.
correct. Yeah. So you can go see, and it shows how much he paid. He
Did
paid.
you ever watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul?
So full disclaimer, I don't watch TV.
Okay. I don't
I've
either.
been
I
here-
just have shows.
I've been here since September 30th. I've turned my TV on once.
Wow. Yeah, you're way better than me.
Yeah, I don't watch TV.
Way better than me. Okay.
Who has time for TV?
I make time for TV because for a long time I didn't watch TV at all, but there are some shows that I enjoy. And
I can't get into any of the new shows. All my shows are old and discontinued.
okay. Well, we'll talk about that. Alphonse, I got a couple I think you might like, but I don't
I'm
want
not
to
interested.
wreck it. I don't want to wreck it for you.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
But I was going to say there used to be a show called Breaking Bad, and one of the people, and they were all criminals, right?
Mhm.
And one of the people in it was this guy by the name of Saul Goodman. He was a janky attorney who had his law office in the back of a nail salon. And he worked with all of the criminals and drug dealers.
Now, was the nail salon a money laundering operation?
No, it was totally separate.
Oh, okay.
That might have been the only clean, so-called clean business in the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, but that, when you said that story, that made me think of that.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we've gone through a lot of your stuff. I've kept you here like an hour and a half already.
Mm-hmm.
What would you want everybody to know about how, if they hit a hardship, how they can continue to move forward? What would you tell them?
Well, my first thing I always tell people is to stop and breathe. Stop, breathe, close your eyes, and take at least a moment to only focus on breathing in and breathing out. The second, you know, because a lot of times it's the overwhelm that makes people not think correctly. They don't think things through. They can't go through it because they're just so, oh my God. Stop, take a moment, just deep breath.
Your own oxygen mask.
Literally, and just only focus on that for that moment. Then next you want to look at, like, I don't know, I say be strategic. So the first thing you want to do is tell people, drop that pride, leave that pride behind you, drop it off somewhere. I don't care. Be okay with the fact that you made a mistake, because I feel like a lot of times those are the things that stop people from getting help. So before you can even get the help, these are steps you should take first. So you want to start telling people, especially somebody who's in your corner, your best friend. If you got somebody who you scared to tell because you think they're going to judge you, that's not your best friend. That's not your friend. So that means you should be able to tell your best friend, because they're going to try to help as the way they can. And call your mortgage company, credit card company, utility companies to let them know, because chances are they might have a hardship program. Look for assistance programs in your area, rental assistance, mortgage modification programs. In Chicago, they had like the LIHEAP program that it will help you pay your utility bills, especially in the wintertime. And then you want to basically, you pull your resources first, like become the Inspector Gadget, shoot, and find every resource that you possibly can find and be on it applying for them. And then you want to look and see, is it something you can sell in your house? Is it something that you have that got tags on it in a closet? You got equipment that you bought, anything you have that's still in the return window for Amazon that you can ship back for free and get your money back. Like you want to like go into get it mode. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. I mean, one of the things I used to do, I used to sell on eBay. And the first thing they tell everybody to do is just sell all the excess stuff out of your house first. And then you can look to source other items that you could sell that might make sense. But just sell all your junk first. Because
chances are most people have some.
we all do. We all do. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. But once you do all that, then what?
Once I do all of that, what do I do as far
Reach
as
out for help. Don't suffer in silence. Right? Sell all the excess crap you got tags on in the closet that you're just holding on to. Face the music. Then what?
So I say you need to do an inventory of your finances. And like, okay, say you in
That
the
sounds
middle.
fancy. What is an inventory?
I'm already about to break it down.
All
say
right.
you in the middle of the month and you're approaching the next month of rent or the next month of mortgage and you don't have it. Well, you know, you probably most likely have 5 days extra for your rent. You most likely have 15 days for your mortgage. Is your utility bills up to date? If your utility bills are up to date, maybe you need to miss them that next month so you can make sure that mortgage is paid. And then like kind of juggle, like when, you know, go back to before you had money, like just being real, because when you have a low amount of money and you only got this money to last to your paycheck, you will be the best budgeter in your life. You will not spend anything extra. You will be counting down how many dollars you have by the day. So you want to channel that energy and get back to that person and see, are you able to skip your light bill and gas bill and these like utility bills and then pull all that money to the main bill? And then you want to go and like kind of switch back to that on that next check, get that paid. If you're already behind and you're already past that point, you want to look at where can you pull money from? Can you take a loan? Does your 401k allow you to take a loan from it where you would have to pay that money back? Do you have any investments? Maybe you can liquidate them. If you are the person who don't have any investments, all you really have is just your paycheck and all you're dealing with is your paycheck, side hustles, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart. I've done all of them. I've done TaskRabbit cleaning people's houses. I've done working in apartments. I've done Instacart shipped.
Well, wait a minute. We should have had a whole show about doing side hustle.
I was the side hustle queen. I paid off $50,000 in debt in 2 years. Side hustle queen. Like, yeah. So all right.
So what? Real quick. I know we've been for a while, but give me your top 5 favorite side hustles that anybody can do.
My top 5. It used to be Uber before they changed the way they pay. Once they start paying it different, it was a nah for me. Uber Eats, I never really cared for because a lot of times you arrive there and the food is not ready. So now you have to wait for their food to get ready, which to me is wasting my valuable time that I could have been making money during this time. You're messing up my point. So I don't really care for Uber Eats. I liked Uber. You got paid well. I liked Instacart, believe it or not, because it was a way for me to get my workout in at the same time as side hustling, because you're delivering it to people. And Chicago has a lot of different people with stairs and different things. So I was able to get my 10,000 steps in a day and I was getting my side hustle on. But again, I was doing these programs when they first came out. Once they got people used to the program, most of them changed their compensation package and start paying people much less and taking off more profit. So I used to do Uber and Lyft at the same time and just you pick which one, come up and turn the other one off. Like I'm telling you, I used to do everything. Oh, I used to do another one. I think this was my favorite. It was like a mystery shopping, but I would go.
It's about mystery shopping, yeah.
I would go and audit Costco. So I would have to go, you had to scan all of the food items that would be in the grocery store. So don't scan any of the clothing items or things like that. And I would go, it was 1,900 products and I would scan them. I would on Thursday, get there. I had it down to a science, how many hours it took me. And they would pay me, it took me maybe a couple of hours. I would go do it on Thursday, that one day and be done with it. And I would get paid like $150 a week. And then my favorite, of course, I worked at Marriott for a while because of the perks, the Marriott perks.
Now, I just saw a video today that said we've been all pronouncing Marriott wrong for a long time. Is
Say
that
it
true?
again.
We've been pronouncing Marriott. It's like Marriott.
Oh, well, I don't know that we call it Marriott.
Okay.
Over 6 years, and we call it Marriott.
So DoorDash, Uber,
Uber Eats. I did TaskRabbit.
TaskRabbit.
Like you like cleaning people's houses.
I'm trying to think of anything else. Okay, I've done some of those myself in the past, so
Hey.
I get it. I get
You
it.
do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
They even got one. It's called where you just take pictures of stuff.
I don't know that one.
And focus groups. That's one of my favorites. Focus groups.
Every time I try to get a focus group, they never call me.
You putting something in wrong. You got to put something that they like.
Okay.
Full disclosure. Yeah, exactly. Easy money. Auditing. You just meant to put in the price and then put in the sales price. Field agent. Oh yeah, field agent is a good one. I'm part of that one.
What's a field agent?
It's like you go out and do things. I'm gonna see if I got an email from them right now. You go out and do things that you sign up for. You go do them.
Well, let me ask you this question. I think most people have money problems because they have not figured out ways to maximize their income.
That's yeah.
And I know for the short term, side hustles can be really good. Sometimes some of the side hustles can turn into real businesses, but for the most part, people have not figured out ways to generate more income.
And here goes the thing.
Boils down to.
Here goes the thing. When they do get a side hustle, they start thinking of it as extra money, and it's not extra money. This is a side hustle. There's a means to an end to it. So yes, you're starting to work a side hustle to get extra money, but the purpose of this money is the goal. Nobody wants to sign up to work out this hard forever. It's supposed to be temporary to create a better situation. So you still operate on the same money. Do not include that side hustle in your regular budget, because all of that money needs to be divided towards your financial goals. And I feel like that's where a lot of people mess up. They start looking at it as additional funds. Like, oh, it's okay. I get paid for my side hustle next week, so I can pay for the trip next week. No, that money does not include that money is going towards your goals.
But to be fair, sometimes people, their ends ain't meeting. So they need the side hustle money just to make meets end.
That's true.
You know, so I mean, it's rough. There's a lot of people out here, they're doing bad. I mean, when we talk about home prices are being an average of $416,000, but when you look at the other side of the coin, a lot of people are maxed out on the credit cards. We have over $1 trillion in credit card debt right now, and it's like there's a lot of people hurting right now. And they're only one paycheck away, or 2 or 3 paychecks away from being homeless, right? So, you know, you got to do what you got to do until you can really get your skill level up to make more money.
Essentially. But see, that's why I say, like, doing a side hustle is fine, but you have to figure out what are you going to do to get your skill level so you can get more income. Otherwise, you're just signing yourself up for this for a long time. So you have to be putting in energy into what you're going to do to change your income.
Right.
And that could be a trade, a certification. I mean, ask Google, ask Chad.
Absolutely. All right, so field agents like going to Dollar General, seeing the grass needs cutting in parking lot. Oh, that sounds, man, I could do that.
In Chicago, if the snow need to be removed.
All right, well, listen, I need a side hustle. My daughter's college tuition is kicking my butt.
Oh, yeah. Baby.
I need a side hustle. Well, Nia, I appreciate you spending time with us this evening. You have been wonderful.
Thank you.
Let everybody know where they can find you and what you have coming up next.
So they can find me everywhere. I'll see NYC page for snow removal as well. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Money Perspectives, like on the screen, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. what do you have to expect from me? I got a nice Black Friday offer I'm working on. I've been working hard. Oh, she found me on Instagram already. Okay, Miss Eddie. So what I don't know. I'm throwing a few workshops in Atlanta. My first one is going to be March 9th. I already got my venue and my videographer. My 5-day money challenge in January. I do it every January to help you recuperate after the holidays. And then just content. I'm doing a series right now. I just started today, The Habits of Wealthy Women. I've been researching the wealthy and successful women, seeing what habit patterns they have.
I mean, I would guess they're probably the same as any other wealthy person, but I get it.
Possibly, but
I get it.
We're gonna see
for the ladies.
Exactly. Something for
I got it. Well, thank you again, Nia. Everybody, go follow Nia's channel, her YouTube.
It looks like they have. They already found me on Instagram, YouTube.
But I told you I would help you with YouTube.
And I appreciate that. And so we definitely need to do that. Maybe you need to do a YouTube audit of my channel to tell me.
Okay. And listen, I'm still trying to get my 10,000. So until I get above 10,000, I'm not an expert.
Okay. So once you get to 10,000, I expect the audit when you get to 10,000.
You get an audit before then. I already got some.
Because I have like 286. I'm struggling.
All right. I know what you're doing.
I'm working on, I'm going to try to do one video a week.
Okay. At minimum.
You said what?
At minimum. One a week.
At minimum, yeah, because that's an improvement, believe it or not.
Okay. All right.
I do a lot of shorts.
They work, but they don't always. You got to give the shorts somewhere to go. So to me, the shorts are just there to feed into your longer content.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not using that strategy. So, yeah. I need to work on that.
You got it. But listen, everybody, I appreciate you all being here again on a Wednesday. Y'all know I'm here every Wednesday, 8-ish, but I'm here, right? So next week we'll be here with another great show. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and throw them in the chat of anything you want to see or anybody you want to see me have on to the Finance Rebel Show. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.